Greetings, all you maniacs and minds running crimes, and today I want to talk about more about the Vilous universe, not just Circles. I want to, well, of course, I'm going to be covering them because you kind of have to, but I want to also talk about the other two Altus races, and also just sort of a brief history of the world that they live on and just the universe they live in. So, my last video on Circles wasn't the best. I really could have done better. But anyway, so let's get a few things straight. There are some sort of like stereotypes of Sergals. I'm not talking like, they're cheese wedges, which is just a furry thing. Uh, but the fact that a lot of people were like, oh my god, they're just like bloodthirsty monsters that rape people. No, 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 no. That was only Rain Silvis. That was only Brutal General Rain, because she was absolutely insane. She did not have much mind left, if any at all. So anyway, let's talk about Rain. Okay, so she was born in year zero of the Rain calendar. This is the most common way to keep track of the old ages and the new ages. So everything after Rain was born is technically the new age, and especially after she died at Rain calendar 60, Circles tend to live to be about 60-ish. I'm sure there's exceptions. I'm sure there are very huge exceptions to Circles living much longer, but let's just say that all Circles live to be about 60 and call it a day, because they age twice as fast. A 10-year-old Circle, in their years, 10 years old, would actually be about 17 or 18 in human years, so they're considered young adults, especially in Gold Ring. We'll talk about Gold Ring a bit more later. So, Rain, according to the old story, this is all subject to change, but Rain was born into your average northern village, living in the Talixian biomes, and these places are not fun. They are super dangerous. Like, one wrong step, you dead. There's no exceptions. Like, everything out there is out to kill you. Think of Australia times 30. It's horrid. So, she was sort of ostracized by her community because she had gold eyes, and gold eyes are spooky, scary. They made everyone frightened. So yeah, she was not treated very, very well, and also she was a mutant, and I'll talk a bit more about her mutation in a bit. So at a young age, she killed her parents. Cool, bitch, and left the village and dragged her younger brother, with her, who later died of illness in the forests. She would later return and basically say, you know what? Why are we afraid of this planet? We're better than this planet. We can conquer it. And so she rounded all up the northern settlements, all of the villages, everyone, all the people, got them all together and was like, we're making an army and we're doing something about this damn planet. And for the first like 10 years of this, something like that, again, all the dates aren't really confirmed because it is all just sort of hastily thrown together, kind of. But anyway, this was good. This was good. She did make some cities, well, sort of cities, more like towns, and all that stuff, and made people feel safe. So everyone wanted to follow behind her in her footstep and wanted to do everything that they could to get on her good side. And also, this is the time where she started to slowly lose her mind. And also, she was still growing. She grew to be about 7'5". The average Sergal is about 6 feet tall, somewhere around there. They're basically human level of height. She pretty much had gigantism. Think of it that way. But she also got bulkier and stronger, so no one really wanted to mess with her. So, and also she was, like I said, absolutely fucking nuts. So it came to time where the Great War happened, where the Shigu Empire, the name of her empire, decided to, you know what, let's attack Nivria, and let's try to get the Western Circles on our side. And if the Nivrians want to join, fine. If they don't, they don't. So the Nivrians are bird-like dinosaurs, sort of raptorish. I'll put a picture of them. The males are the more petite and pretty ones. The females are the stronger, less pretty, stockier, and just, the protectors. The males are there to be pretty. The females are the breadwinners. Not all the time, but most of the time. The females are just naturally stronger. So, anyway, the Westerns did not want anything to do with the Shigyu Empire. They had a perfect thing going. They had wonderful music and culture, apparently, but a lot of it is lost because, well, Rain was like, you know what? No, if they don't want to join us, then they die. And it was a massacre. It was, yeah. I'm sure when there's a comic of this, it will go into explicit detail of what happened to the Western Circles. And I don't want to see that because that is horrible. So, after the massacre of the Western Circles, a lot of them did flee to Goldring, which was, that must have been hell because they had to cross this freaking desert. By the way, Tal has a hotter star than our star. Well, more radioactive, something like that. It's just think of the deserts that they have. The big desert that they have is much harsher than any other desert on our planet. Probably about like a factor of 5 or 10. It's pretty hostile. It's pretty horrible. Like it's very, very bad, and people had to cross that fucking desert. I'm sure they had some sort of vehicles, or they went on horseback because they do have their own sort of horses. But anyway, a lot of Nivrians fled back to Nivria. I'm sure a lot of them did try to defend the Western Circles, but a lot of them did flee back to Nivria and basically locked the doors and said, no one's allowed in. We are closing our doors. Fuck off. And a lot of them also fled to Goldring with the Western Circles. Some Western Circles do technically exist, but in canon, they are a de facto extinct race. They are considered extinct, although I'm sure there are quite a number of them left. But anyway, and it's really sad because the Western Circles are a subspecies of Northerners. So, yeah, but this is just Rain being brutal General Rain as she is. So some time passed. The Shigyu Empire was actually sort of on its last legs for quite a long time because they captured a lot of Agunters. And here's a picture of Agunters. Yeah, they're goat-like, human-like people. Keep in mind, all of these are people, and they call each other humans and have human rights. That is a thing. I know it's very strange. You think they'd call each other Eltis race, but no, they call themselves humans. I think it's more of just a placeholder or just a philosophy of having humanity. Probably both. And also English and Japanese are also placeholders because they do have a native tongue. But again, this is all very still work in progress, and I would just like to say that they speak English or something close to English that we can understand. Anyway, because of the Agunter slaves and the servants that the Shigyu had, they had huge technological booms when it comes to weaponry. But the issue with this empire, they didn't have a ready supply of food and water that they could make themselves. No, they had to pillage for a lot of their stuff. So, yeah. And eventually the empire just became too exhausted, too populated, and it just utterly collapsed. It also probably helped that Rain was captured. How the hell was she captured? I don't fucking know. But she did die at the age of 60, old, senile, and too obese to move. So, yeah. So that's basically the brief rundown of everything. I am leaving some stuff out, but not all of it is like 100% confirmed. What is confirmed is Rain was the one responsible for creating the Shigyu Empire and uniting the Northern Circles and having everyone become a lot more civilized. Good start. She was also responsible for wiping out the Westerners. Fuck you, bitch. And it's also confirmed that she did, in fact, try to attack Goldring. Yeah, she tried to cross a big fucking desert and try to attack Goldring with her army. That's not going to work. Idiot. Anyway, here is a map of the planet Tal, where everyone lives, where all these people live. So up here is where the Western Circles are and the Shigu Empire was. And you see how large that desert is. There are some places where you could you could go here and cross over and it wouldn't be too bad. But still, that's probably like tens of dozens of miles of desert. Fuck that. The exact scale of this isn't really known. I'm just going to say that the salt zone is probably around 100 miles or way more than that. Tal is a bigger planet than Earth. So there is that. No, they don't have stronger gravity. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Probably don't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Maybe the planet's less dense. This is just something that wasn't really thought of. All this is subject to change. Kikiuma, the creator of the story, could say, one day it's like, Tal isn't bigger than Earth. It's pretty much the exact same size and has the exact same gravity. So there's that. But anyway, so going back to Goldring. Goldring is probably the only safe place on the planet where you do not risk your life just trying to find food and water out in the wilderness, because you're surrounded by a salt lake. It's not an ocean. It's a lake that is really heavily saturated with salt. But that's not a problem because they do have they do have a way to get the salt out, and that's how their city is still able to exist in this desert. Because if they weren't able to filter the salt from the water, then the gold ring would not work. So up east is Riano, which is where the eastern Circles, the hybridization of southerns and northerns, live. They are much stronger and taller, and that's where a lot of the mining happens. But they don't have the best mining equipment yet. There's a source of water there. There's also nearby swamps with horrible creatures like worms from Tremors. I'm not fucking kidding. And all that shit. Nivria is where the Nivrians are from, and it's pretty mountainous, I want to say. But again, a lot of the information isn't 100% confirmed yet. Maybe some of it is, I'm just glossing over it. But anyway, back to Goldring. Goldring was the result, was sort of the celebration of the unity of Southern Circles and Agunters. Agunters, before Circles really showed up, they met. They were always there, but before the two cultures met, before the two people met, the Agunters were pretty brutish. They were pretty, I want to say your stereotypical Viking that just, wants to pillage and destroy. But the Circles are super laid back and chill people. And they had a very nice cultural exchange. So then they were like, hey, we should make a city out in the desert. That's a stupid idea. I'm in. So the Gold Ring was created. Of course, this happened hundreds of years ago, probably, or way longer than that ago. Way before Rain. Gold Ring has been around for a really long time. It's the biggest city on Tal, and it's probably the most ancient city on Tal that the Eltis know about. There are a few Talixian sentient races that are as intelligent as the Eltis races, but we don't know much about them. So I'm just saying that Gold Ring is the oldest city on planet Tal. Anyway, Gold Ring is, it's your big, typical, basically New York City. Here is a picture of what the city looks like on the streets. It's very Middle Eastern, very also sort of Asian flair-ish. Looks like a pretty cool place. There is some crime, but it's a big city. Of course that's going to happen. Anyway, there's a lot of technology that happens here. They do have vehicles. They do have cars. They do have electricity. They have refrigerators. They also even have cell phones, but they're big brick phones. The kind that you could probably beat someone to death with. That literally weighs like a brick. So Southern Circles are a lot more cultured than a lot of other ones. I'm not saying that a Northerner or an Easterner can't be very, very cultured and refined, But Southerners, since most of them are born in or around Goldring, they're just influenced by their environment and become a lot more cultured. They have their own. They have like music, which apparently is like techno. Apparently, techno music is sort of really popular in Goldring. I didn't know that. That sounds very strange, but yeah, not my personal flavor. I'd rather listen to fucking like alternative rock or heavy metal or new metal or gothic rock or anything like that. But, they have that. They also have a whole lot of like really cool, they have a lot of cool things, and it's honestly awesome. But Goldring does have a few pretty bad like stains on them. The first thing is their gladiatorial arena. Way back, um, people would often pay to see warriors fight dangerous Talixian creatures to the death. And yeah, you can already imagine that. Yeah, if you mess with these creatures, even if you're very skilled, you could die, and a lot did. And there was also the whole thing of Nivarians being slaves for a little bit until like year 70 of the ring calendar, something like that. So they were slaves for a while and not treated very, very well, but they were eventually given human rights, and the past is the past. What kind of slaves were they? Well, according to the wiki, they were anything from prostitutes or fodder in gladiatorial arenas. Yeah. Oof. Apparently, pretty Nivarian guys were very popular in some circles. I mean, they still are, because Nivarian guys are very pretty. They are. They're gorgeous. So that's basically just like a rundown of the Vilous universe. I really do love this universe. I love it so much. It's so cool and fascinating and very well done. And I am a huge lore nerd. I love lore. I love it when lore is extremely deep and where it's just like everything just fits together like a glove. It just works. That's why I love the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games so much. Well, I should just say Soulsborne games so much, because the story is not in your face, but if you look for it, it's really cool. And Bloodborne, well, the world is fucked. If you didn't know that, Bloodborne's world is absolutely fucked. Fucking cosmic horror. I love it. Bloodborne on PC, please. Please. Anyway, so I hope you found this interesting. I personally, just like I said, I love it. I love this shit. So that's all I really had to say about Tal and the Vilous universe. I really cannot wait to see where it goes next, what sort of new developments happen. And I would absolutely love to see an anime of this. I would love it if there was a full-on like Vilous anime going over everything from the birth of Rain to the Great War to the New Ages. I'd love that shit. I would watch that like a fucking religion. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, in Drillby, we trust.